Yeah, and welcome, Jambo. Thank you so much for turning up here to the live stage and talking about some FIFA gameplay.
That's all right, man. Thank you for having me. I'm Jambu. I've been playing FIFA, I think, consistently since around '09. So I have the foot founder status, which means I was one of the first ever people to play Ultimate Team. So I've been around a long time. For the last sort of 4 or 5 years, I've been a pro player as well. And then in the last year, I've teamed up with Gamerzclass to help people improve at the game. And I've gone into this sort of educational content route, and I'm really enjoying it. So that is me.
That sounds great. How about the FIFA 22 and Weekend League? How has it been doing for you, Jambo?
Honestly, at first, when the game come out, I wasn't a fan at all. But it's been one where the longer I've played it, it's grown on me quite a lot. In terms of the weekend league, we have hit back to back to back rank ones, which I'm very happy with. I'm going to see how long the streak can go. But so far, so far so good.
As a pro, you have to be planned and prepared for every situation. Do you have kind of four formations ready for different situations in matches in Weekend League?
This is obviously subject to change because I do sort of tinker with my formations and that a lot. But I tend to start games in a 4-2-3-1, and I think it's just a solid all-round formation, and it's a good one for feeling out like how your opponent's playing and just getting into the game a little bit. And then I like to go into the 4-4-2 if things aren't working out or I need to go a little bit more attacking. They're the two main formations I use. I've actually been trying the 4-2-3-1 wide as well, because with that formation, you're able to set the left and right mids to get in behind, whereas on the normal 4-2-3-1, you can't do that with the cams. So I'm finding that useful for attacking down the wings. But it's mainly the 4-2-3-1 and the 4-4-2 I use, and then I'll have different versions of those for different situations.
I know from my own experience, I kind of need affirmation for not conceding goals.
Yeah.
As it is right now, I feel like I get the goals that I need, and somehow, I don't know how, but at the 85 minutes plus, somehow my opponent's just getting the goals. And I just need this formation, and I haven't really found it yet that really works out for me to just block off every chances that my opponents have. What do you use, Jambo, for really feeling okay? I have to secure this win.
Yeah, so if I'm struggling to see it out, so it is a 4-2-3-1 I use. However, it's like a very negative version. So I'll have like the striker, cams, everyone set to come back on defense, the CDMs and all the defenders set to stay back, and then like really low depth as well. Another way you can do that is you can have everyone except the striker to come back, and then at least you can sort of offer something as a counter attack. But if you purely just want a lot of players behind the ball defending, then I think the 4-2-3-1 with negative custom tactics is so effective because the two CDMs just sat in front of the back four, especially in weekend league gameplay where it can get a little bit slow and delayed and that sort of stuff that we all know. It's just such an effective formation. It's those two CDMs like in front of the defense. It's just so hard to break. So I'd recommend a 4-2-3-1 with just very low depth and maybe even drop back if you need it.
Yeah, because I maybe some of the other members experience it a lot too. I have really big troubles about the CDMs
Yeah.
when we're running back. So when I'm using maybe my CB, I feel like my CDM is just standing still. He's not moving, and I really want him to move back and stay like in front of my box. So
Yeah.
I will try to experiment with that and try to have my CDMs more back to help in the defense.
If you have a little try, maybe you already do it, but the cut passing lanes instruction on CDMs can be quite useful, because what that does is it automatically positions your CDMs to stand in the passing lanes. So that can make it very difficult for your opponent to sort of play through you, because those lanes are going to be marked by the two. So that's definitely worth trying out.
Also, I remember some of the past years about CDMs, about covering center instead of the sides, right? Is that something that is
I think if you're going to play a setup where, you know, you want everybody back, then the cover center is definitely better. I like the cover wide in my normal 4-2-3-1, and the reason for that is it doesn't mean that they just cover the wide. All it means is that if one of your fullbacks overlaps on the wing, the CDM will then slot into the empty gap that the fullback's left. So when you're attacking, it's very useful, because it means that if you're attacking with your left or right back, you don't get caught out because the CDM fills in there. So yeah, but for the ultra defensive one, I would say cover center, so that they're just sat at all times in front of your defense. I think that's the way to go.
This is Harpreet Singh. He asked about which console version should a casual player play, PS4 or PS5?
So my experience, and obviously this could be different in different, you know, ranks of the game and stuff, but I can only give my point of view. I think I definitely get easier games on the PS4. I think a lot of that might be down to, obviously, the competitive year is on new gen PS5. So a lot of aspiring pros and all the current pros are all over on PS5. So automatically, you know, it's going to be harder over there if you match one of them. So playing on the old gen guarantees basically at the moment that you're not really going to match a pro. And the other thing that I think may have to do with it is a lot of the people that have the PS5 right now, you know, are pretty hardcore gamers. They're quite hard to get at the moment. So I just find in general that games seem to be a little bit harder over there. But personally, you know, if I'd just paid for a new gen console, I'd want to get the most out of it. So honestly, my advice would be to just try both and just see what you enjoy more. If you want easier games, then play PS4. If you want the new graphics and the hypermotion, then you can play the new gen PS5.
I think I read that if you have to qualify, I think it's for some tournaments or something like that, you have to play on PS5. Is that right?
Yep, the whole pro scene's on PS5 this year, new gen.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm just gonna stay on PS4 for a little while. I can't get the PS5 though. It's very difficult to get one.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
We got another question actually. Abadi Jahesh asked, I've been having issues attacking as my opponent always has like 7 players in the back, and he can't get past it. Do you have any tips for breaking down a big defense?
So this was a lot easier at the start of the game, because obviously we had the crazy finesse shots. So if somebody was sitting deep, you were able to just, you know, hit a shot from outer space effectively and it fly in. Now that the finesse shots have been toned down, it makes it a little bit harder, but they are still viable. So if you can get to sort of around the edge of your opponent's box, you need to be green timing your finesse shots now, really. But if you can hit a green timed finish from outside the box with a finesse, it has got every chance of going in. Corners are another way of breaking people down. So, say, for example, you hit one of these finesse shots, win a corner. What you want to do is you take the corner short, and as soon as you take it short, you'll have a guy on the edge of the box. You want to pass to him straight away and then cross to the back post, and you always have a guy there for a free header every single time. So that is a little corner tip for you guys.
I think actually I saw a video about that. This must be the new meta for corners.
Yes, it is. It is pretty broken, to be honest.
Yeah, because there was a lot of examples of him scoring with this kind of corner. I tried to do it myself during this weekend league during the weekend now.
Yeah.
This last weekend, but I wasn't really succeeding in doing it. It could be cool actually if we could make like and really introduction about how to do this. You have to do this and this because I feel like I have Bernardo Silva
Yeah.
and he's on the edge of the box and he's not in the position where I can do this cross to the back post and I don't know what's happening, but I'm getting a lot of offsides and I can't really do it as well. So
There may be a
cool.
reason for that, actually. So you know, in your custom tactics, where you have the free kicks and the corners tab, and it's you can go from 1 to 4.
Sure.
You have to have the corners on 1, otherwise they don't position correctly.
Okay. I wasn't really thinking about that.
Yeah.
So we were talking about these big defenses with a lot of players within the box.
Yeah.
I have some experience as well. So I think I have two types of attack. So one where my team is kind of countering the opponent and my team is moving up the pitch. And I try to do a lot of low driven passes, those quick passes to get the tempo up. And then I can get some space. Maybe I could get a run into the box, or I go to the side and then pass it into my striker. That works a lot for me. That going to the side and then try to pass.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips on should I do a driven pass to my striker, or should I do a chip pass to my striker when I'm going from the sides into the box?
I think the issue with like the lobbed through balls is a lot of the time when they've got this many men back, it's because they're playing quite low depth, so there's not always the space for the chipped through ball. But the driven passes are very, very good at the moment. They're super OP in my opinion. You know, you can hit a driven pass from strange angles and they still sort of lock on. So I think that's the go-to pass. Definitely more than just a normal pass at the moment, because the normal passes are very slow. They don't lock on as well. So if you don't know how to do the driven pass, it is R1 and then the pass button, or RB if you're on the Xbox and the pass button. Experiment with that. The passes are very quick, very direct, and it can just catch your opponent out. So I recommend adding that into your game for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say the other type of attack I have is like, so I'm building my attack slowly up, and
Yeah.
then people are getting this big defense with all of the players in the box, and the only creative way I have to try to figure out how to make a goal is like I try to. So if you remember some FIFA's back, you can do some lobbed pass and then you can juggle around and score.
Yeah.
That was pretty OP, but I'm trying. I don't know why. I think it's just I'm used to doing the lob pass from the FIFA's before. But otherwise, I try to pass it into a 5-star skiller and try to scoop it around and make some space. That's the only creative ways I have right now. When people are having a lot of defenders in the box.
No, I think that makes sense. I think that along with like it's very useful to know that corner, because obviously when they're sat so deep and you don't have too many options, it's very likely you're going to win corners because you're probably going to shoot from outside the box. The keeper makes a save and stuff. So I think like that corner alone at the moment is enough, you know, to just break anybody down. So that's definitely one worth learning for sure.
I'm not looking forward to the pads then. Another question from For Azeroth. And it's about defending as well. So hold on to a 1-goal lead in the 80th minute. But he's also talking about the mindset, which mindset you should have in the end of the game when you are having a lead.
Okay. I think there's two ways to do it. So I know I've actually done both in pro qualifiers and stuff. So one of the mentalities that you can say to yourself is, right, I'm going to sort of sit deep and then look to counter attack them and finish the game off. Or the other one is, I do not want to go forward at all. I just want to sit here and try and see this out. And it depends how comfortable you are in your defending, because if in your defensive setup you've set everyone to stay back, super low depth, then you're probably not even going to be able to counter attack too well, which means you're going to be pinned in your own half, and it's just going to rely solely on your defending. What I would recommend for most people is to do what we spoke about earlier and have at least your striker on sort of getting behind, maybe even stay forward, just so when you win the ball back in defence, you can start some sort of counter attack. That way you can get out of your half, because if your opponent's losing in the 80th, there's a good chance that they're sending everyone forward as well, which means that they're going to leave spaces at the back. So there's definitely counter attacking opportunities. The thing I'd recommend doing is just looking to exploit that, looking to get into the space in behind, and just not panicking, really. A lot of people start panic switching, doing things that they wouldn't normally do in their defense. You just got to try and defend how you normally would, but you've just got a lot more defenders around helping you do it. So just try and keep your normal mentality.
And I know from myself as well. Sometimes when I have a lead, I feel bad playing the ball around on my own half of the pitch. Sometimes I don't know why, but I just feel like I'm playing FIFA. I'm playing for fun. I'm also playing for winning, but I'm still playing for fun. So I just want a lot of scoring some goals, right? That is
Yeah.
FIFA is about, scoring some great goals. But even though when I try to do it as to say, okay, I really need this win to get the rank that I want, sometimes I actually do the panic as well. So they begin to do this pressure. There's this setting with pressure, and then I just I mess up big time, and then they're just going alone on goal versus my keeper. So it is tough sometimes with the mentality.
Yeah, I think honestly, team press, as you just spoke about, is like one of the most broken things in the game. The issue with it for me is I think it does something to the like composure of your actual players. So like a normal 5-yard pass, if they put team press on, sometimes your player will just pass it out of play and stuff. So I think that's why I don't normally advise just like clearing the ball. But if your opponent's team pressing and it's late in the game, I would probably recommend just smashing the ball up to your striker, because if you try and keep the ball in your defense and play around team press, you're almost asking to just be caught out. Like, it's very overpowered. So just try and keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, that's true, and I also try to use team press as much as I can
Yeah.
to get the ball and very quick to get a new attack. Nathan, he asked about a good method of chance creation of 4-2-3-1. It seems in some games the attackers can be isolated, and I feel that as well. Actually, it is difficult sometimes in 4-2-3-1 to make some good chances. So,
Yeah,
what do you
I
have
agree.
tips?
So in terms of like the actual chance creation custom tactic, I do use balanced, and I think the 4-2-3-1 has always been a very good formation, but it's one of those where it can sometimes feel hard to attack in. And that is why I've been experimenting with this new 4-2-3-1, or not new, but new for me, the wide variation. Because, like I said earlier, you're able to set the left and right mids to get in behind, which means they're not going to be as static as a lamb and a ram. So you may find that using the wide version and having those players run down the wing is going to set up cutbacks to the edge of the box towards your cam, and even just cutbacks into the striker. And I'm definitely finding that the wide version is a lot easier to find that space and get in behind. So maybe you'll find the same. But I think the normal 4-2-3-1, in terms of just all round defensively, with like the lamb and the ram, just how the team positions, I still think it's stronger overall. But just try attacking in the wide variation, and I think you'll have some success with that.
We have another question as well. It is from Darius.
Yeah.
He asked, "What is the most important aspect for winning games in FIFA 22?"
I mean, I think there's a lot of things, but I think mentality is an important one. I think you got to try and enjoy the game and what you're doing, as well as obviously having a clear goal to win. Doing the fundamentals right, having the right tactics, using the meta formations and players. You can be the best player in the world, but if you're set up completely wrong and you're doing the wrong things, then it's not going to work too well for you. I think it's a very open question. Like, there's so many different things that go into winning games. But I think just looking back at your own gameplay footage is something that's very underrated. Looking at, mistakes that you make in your own game, watching pro players and adding things that they do into your game as well. Just little things like that, I think, can make a very big difference. And to me, it's just all about one by one learning new things and ticking things off until eventually you're at the level that you set the goal to be. So for me, that's the best way to start winning. Just actively do your best to improve.
I feel like the first, like, see, when you see the opponent's team, and the first minute of the FIFA game is the most important thing for me when we're talking mentality. It's a lot about being confident as well, I feel. Because if I see a team with 3 or 4 icons, I see Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar, I'm just thinking, I don't know how to win this game. And they are maybe starting with the ball, and I can see, oh my God, he's doing so much skills, and I can do these skills, and how am I gonna win this game? But I know I play efficient FIFA. I can win even though I can't do the skills. So, but it's really about the confidence for me, having also about my physical stuff, that I have been drinking enough water, and I've been eating, and I'm not tired. If I'm tired, I know that I'm gonna play really bad as well.
Yeah.
So that's really important for me. I know that there's a lot of gameplay to improve on, but for me, when playing the weekend league, I have to get the confidence, and my body has to be ready for playing, actually, to win the games.
No, I agree, actually. Like in weekend league, especially, where it's obviously so many games and such a grind, it is important to just make sure you're feeling good, because you're there for a long time, right? So like you say,
Exactly.
staying hydrated and also balancing your games out. You don't want to be playing 15 games in a row if that's not what you enjoy doing. Obviously, not everybody is able to space them out due to commitments and stuff, but as well as you can, I'd recommend spreading the games out and then taking at least a 5-minute break after a loss as well.
Yeah, because I try. I do a lot of other stuff as well, and of course I play uh, uh, other games as well. But I feel like I try to play 6 to 8 Saturday and the rest Sunday.
Yeah.
But if I have been losing 3 games in a row, I just have to quit. Then I can continue later on. But if I lose 3 games in a row, I'm just tilting and I'm mad, and I just stay in that type of mentality the next game I know. So I have to stop there.
No, I agree. I think the worst thing you can do is, take a loss, jump straight back into a game whilst you're still tilted. And then, you end up playing so bad, then losing another. And then you just get into a cycle where I see so many people say like they've gone 10-0, for example, and then they've lost like their next 6 games. That just shouldn't happen. Like if you're able to win 10 in a row, you're clearly a very good player. So the only reason they're losing that many in a row is because they're playing on tilt, basically. So that's the biggest tip, I guess. Don't ruin your whole weekend by just jumping into games whilst you're angry.
That's true, and I've been trying it myself, especially last year. It was going 8-0 or 10-0, and
Yeah.
then I get a loss streak, and I don't know why. And then the mentality comes in again, and yeah, it is a big problem. I think Mani is asking, what's the best method to practice and improve right stick switching?
Okay. So honestly, that exact question is probably the one over the years I've been asked the most. And it's the one thing that I just don't have that much advice on, to be honest, other than just going into games and practicing it. I've compared it before to sort of, it's similar to somebody asking, like on a shooting game, how can I improve my aim? Like it's sort of just something you have to jump into a game, lots of games, and just actively try and practice it. There's no sort of quick way or quick fix to go from one level to another in player switching. It's just simply getting used to it and just balancing between using the bumper and the right stick. We can do a video on player switching. I think that's something that I can put together for you guys and try and explain it the best I can. And we can maybe have like a controller input on so that you guys can see, when I'm using the right stick and when I'm using the bumper. And I think that could help. But in terms of practicing it yourself, it is just a case of jumping into games and trying to learn it. It's very situational as well. That's the thing with it.
Yeah, it is, and it can be really difficult to do. Sometimes you grab a wrong defender, and then your whole
Yeah.
defense is just messed up, and then they can just go through to the goal. So you recommend, if I should improve it, I can just go into a rivals game and just focus on when I'm in the defense on the right switch, on the right switch.
Yeah, in my opinion, the best way to learn that and get better at it is to just jump into games and use it. I think a lot of people have sort of fallen into the trap of, because the right stick is a little bit more difficult than the bumper, you do get some people who just don't touch the right stick. So they'll sit back and just keep on switching with the bumper. And if you don't right stick switch, it's impossible to ever be a top player. So some of you guys might have heard, like in the Oli Lito class, he was talking about how right stick switching is basically the most important thing in the game because it helps you defend, it helps you press the ball to attack. Everything revolves around your player switching. So it's one of those where the better you get at right stick switching, like it will drastically improve how good you are overall just as a player. But unfortunately, there's no quick fix or no, one button you can press to instantly improve. It is just a case of trying to become comfortable with it and using it as much as possible.
Actually, we have IMU
Cool.
writing a longer comment here. So he writes that The biggest challenge is high depth and press during no so good gameplay. Basically, opponent gets everything, and even if you manage to find passes somehow, the defense makes crazy recovery. Anyone else feels anyone else feels so and how to play during such situations. Generally happens to me during the gameplay. I having 5 bars and 16 to 22 ms.
Yeah, so I think it will be team press that he's referring to. So I think we sort of covered on it a little bit a while back, but basically, this is going to happen most when you're winning a game, sort of last 10 minutes, and your opponent puts team press on. I would recommend having a formation that has width, because when they're team pressing, they're going to push up and it's going to leave gaps in behind. And like I said earlier, if you really need to, this is the only time really that I'd recommend either booting the ball out or just booting it up to your attacker. If you try and play, nice football and pass your way out of your opponent's team press, it's very unlikely that you're going to make it out. You have to play sort of long passes. If you're playing short on the ground passes against team press, someone's just going to run in and get the ball. It's just how it is. So try and switch fullback to fullback, use the wingers, try and counter attack. In absolute worst case, you can just get rid of the ball. But team press is just something where you just sort of have to ride it out. At the very highest level, you're going to see pro players get caught out by team press. So don't feel bad if you're conceding goals from it. It is very, very strong.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. Otherwise, Jambo, being a pro and playing weekend league, I think that a lot of people expecting you pros to get rank 1 every time, right?
Yeah, indeed.
How do you feel about the new reward system?
So honestly, I think the rewards, it's a weird one where I feel like for the lower ranks, a lot of people are enjoying it, but for sort of higher level players, I guess the rewards just aren't worth it at all. So I've hit rank 1 every week so far, and I'm looking at it from the perspective that a few FIFAs ago, I had monthly rewards, ultimate team of the week packs. Whereas now all I have for the top rank is a few red picks and like a 100k pack or something. So I think this is sort of the lowest reward I've felt. But the reason I continue to play it is obviously the competitive aspect. And I feel it's a little bit more chill, the gameplay for Foot Champs this year. So I play for content, but in terms of the rewards, I do think they're very poor, personally.
Yeah, I remember back in, was it FIFA 17, I think?
Yes.
So there was this monthly reward, and I remember those big YouTube videos where you get, I can't remember how many players, you get those beast players every
Yeah.
month. That was some good rewards. But I feel like I'm getting, I started at rank 3, this FIFA 22, and then I have been gaining rank 2 every time since. And the other, I would say FIFA 21, I was a gold 1 and sometimes elite 3. But it's really nice for me as a casual player to get those team of the week packs.
Yeah.
So I can see the frustrations from the pro players not getting those big rewards anymore. But for me, I feel it's pretty cool to actually care about the team of the week other
Yeah.
than investments. I can see Abu the Jahesh wants to join the live stage, and
Cool.
I'm gonna join you or invite you to the stage. There he is.
Good afternoon, lads.
Hello, mate. How are you
Hello.
doing?
First off, thank you for having me and answering my question a few minutes ago.
No
I've
problem.
been really learning a lot from your videos, but if you had to just take 2 skill moves in the game which you think is the most effective to opening passing lanes or getting past a player or a defender. What do you think are the two most effective skill moves in the whole game?
Okay, that's a good one. So I think before I tell you, I will say that skill moves in general this year are not the best compared to other years. However, there are a few good ones. So the ball roll scoop is a very good one. You need a 5-star skiller for that. All you have to do is you do a ball roll up and then with the left stick pull downwards and do a fake shot and it will do the ball roll scoop motion. I think the reason that one's so good is because it's extremely quick, the animation, so it catches out a lot of defenders. The other one I'm enjoying at the moment is the Frankie de Jong cancel. So it looks like you're about to turn back, but then you cancel it halfway through and you keep going forward, and you can accelerate your sprint off of that as well. But I think for most people, and if you can learn it, the Elastico is still great in and around the box. So there's 3 there for you. And they're ones that I'm using at the moment a lot.
Thank you a lot. That's extremely helpful. Thank you for having me, and it's been great. Thank you.
No worries, mate. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's really great. If anyone else wants to join the stage, just raise your hand and I can get you up on stage. I have a question actually for you, Jambo. Sometimes I feel like FIFA teams can be pretty boring to play against. Sometimes I feel like people are playing the same players all around, all the time.
Yeah.
How do you feel about new promos? Because I don't know about this strategy that EA makes. So they're doing a lot of promos to get other players in, but still, I feel like some of these players are being used last year and are being used again this year. How do you feel about these promos, and or do you see the same players all the time, or how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely do see the same players all the time, and I think that in itself isn't too big an issue because it's the same as like when the new Call of Duty comes out on Friday. There's going to be a meta gun, and eventually you'll see everyone using that, right? So I think it's always going to be that sort of way. But I think what they should be doing with the promos is adding new cards to add to the meta and stuff. Whereas I feel like they're releasing too many cards that are below the power curve. And it would make the game a lot more interesting if when new promos were coming out, for example, there was new players that people wanted to get because they were now the next best thing. I feel like the biggest issue that they do with this game is they release these super high rated cards like Mbappe and that as a 91 so early that they're usable for the whole year. So for someone like me who has spent money on the game, I've got my Mbappe in the first week, and now it's very, very hard to upgrade him. So I'm just stuck with Mbappe. So I think that's what makes it a little bit boring at times.
So does it get boring for you as well to have Mbappe for so long?
I think so, yeah. Like, I'd prefer it if I was able to change him around or, just other stuff come about. I think there will always be a meta and there'll always be go-to players. But maybe, yeah, like if they could find a way to add some more variety, then I would be all for that.
Yeah, I agree on that. It would be nice to have some variety. I actually added Legion SR to the stage. Welcome.
Yes, hello. Quick question I wanted to ask.
Sure.
So you were talking about the De Jong cancel.
Yeah.
So I just wanted you to elaborate how you could do that skill because I've never heard of it.
Sure. So the Frankie de Jong turn is basically it's just a way of going from facing one way to then face in the opposite direction quickly. So let's say, for example, you're just walking your player towards your opponent's goal, which is on the right hand side of the pitch. So you're facing his goal. All you have to do is just tap the right stick the opposite way to what you're running twice, and that'll perform the turn. And then if you want to cancel it, then you just hold both triggers halfway between doing the skill move, and that will cancel it. So that's how to do that one, yeah.
That was it. Thank you very much.
No problem, mate.
We have Hari as well. I invite you to join the stage.
Welcome, guys.
How you doing, brother?
I'm fine, thanks. I have one question.
Sure.
So, so my English is no good.
That's all right. Sounds good to me.
The best formation or meta formation?
In the game, yeah, just the best.
Yes.
In my opinion, it's between two. I would probably say it's the 4-2-3-1, but if it
Yes.
isn't, then it's definitely the 4-4-2. So it's one of those two. For me personally, I'm using the 4-2-3-1 to start my games, and then the 4-4-2 I use to go a little bit more attacking. So I'd recommend having both of those set up.
Yes, okay. On to the next question, Mbappe or Ronaldo?
Definitely Mbappe this year. I think Mbappe is just crazy. Like, he's so quick. He's better like at dribbling and stuff than Ronaldo too. And I don't know what it is, but there's just something about Mbappe this year. I think out of sort of like Messi, Neymar and stuff, Mbappe's the best now. I think it was Messi when the finesse shots were here, but now that they've gone, I think Mbappe is like the player that you want to be getting.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem, bro.
Jambo, I have a gameplay question as well.
Yep.
Sometimes when I attack, and I don't know how I do it, it just happens. I see it's not my player with the ball, but one of the other ones who gets some green arrows where I can kind of control where he runs. Do you know what I mean about that?
I think so. I think that can happen when you like click in one of the sticks, maybe, because you're not talking about the player locks, are you? It's a different thing.
Yes, exactly. 'Cause I know the player locks, but this is different. If you know what it is it something that you use?
I think it's because you can trigger your players to go on a run, like with L1, and you can also trigger them to come back with R1. But I know what you're talking about, where you see the green lines. And honestly, I'm not 100% sure what causes that. I'm not sure whether it's just something that sometimes happens when you trigger a run, but I know exactly what you mean. It's happened to me probably like 5 times, like this FIFA. So not a lot with the amount I've played, but it is a weird one. That I do know what you mean.
Okay, so it's definitely not something that is in the meta right now.
No. Whenever it's happened to me, my player seems to like run off the pitch. So I honestly no idea with that one. But in terms of off the ball stuff, I would recommend like you guys learning the player locks and also sending your players on runs with L1 and then calling them back if they're offside and stuff with R1.
Yeah, sure. I have implemented in my gameplay every time I pass, I make a run. That I do all the time, and then I try to sometimes when I have to get a player in behind, then I use the R1. But I feel like oftenly I get the offside actually. Because I don't know, I don't have the right timing at the moment. I think I have to practice it even more to get the right timing of it. So right now it's not working that well for me. We got Legion back, and he wants to join the stage. I invite you to speak.
Cool.
Okay, sorry. So I'm at work right now, so my mic is it's not very good. So I'm very sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. So about the right stick switching you were talking about, I've been thinking of implementing that to my game, and I think maybe you should because I watch your videos and you do talk about that a lot, I feel like you should release maybe a video concerning that, like to teach us how to improve on that, like
Yeah,
something like that. I was just thinking of that. Maybe that could help.
yeah, I think a video where I have my controller input on and you can see when I'm using the right stick would be helpful. I think the thing with right stick
Okay.
switching is obviously there's so many different positions where it can be used that it's sort of impossible to cover everything. But I do agree. I think maybe a video where my controller input is shared could help people.
Yeah. By the way, I love your content and thank you very much for helping
No,
out everyone. Yeah. Just
I
thought I'd
appreciate the
say that.
calm words.
Yeah.
I would also recommend that we have this Olilito class, defending class, actually on the website. I know that some of the videos are free. I can't remember if the player switch video is free, but I recommend you, if you're not a member, you can create an account, and then there's free videos on the website. So maybe have a look at the class as well. We got two more people who wanted to join the stage. I can see the first one is Viper. Welcome, Viper.
Yes, thank you guys for the show today. I would want to start with the appreciation from Jumbo. All these videos, the attacking and creating space, great videos. I really love
Thank
those.
you.
And also, I would wanna I really love the our little classes, the defending ones. They're really helping me. Uh, the other thing I really wanted to focus on is playing out of pressure because it seems like constant pressure is getting very very hard this on this FIFA. When the constant press is on,
Yeah,
it's very very hard, and especially like let's say the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the game is like chaos.
it is.
So, I like some advice on there.
So I think for sure, if your opponent has put, team pressure on, like say it's the last 20, 30 minutes, and you know that you're going to be pinned in, you definitely want to make sure that you're using a wide formation. If you use something narrow, like the normal 4-2-3-1, it's just going to be impossible to play out the back because everything's going to be marked. Whereas if you're in, say, a 4-4-2, for example, you're still going to be pinned in, but at least you're going to have the width to play out. So the thing with team press is you want to try and use long passes across the pitch because your opponent's going to be pressed up high. Long through balls over the top to counter attack and get in behind. And then, like we've said, if you need to, I wouldn't recommend it in normal play, but against team press, you can just boot the ball away. It's better to just get rid of it and be safe than concede a goal where you get tackled and they're just in, right? So it's one of those, like, the best players in the world are getting caught out by team press. So I think sometimes it is just going to happen. But I think using a wide formation and playing just extra safe and careful is the only way to deal with it.
All right, thank you so much.
No problem, brother.
I think we got time for the last one. It is Harry again.
Thank you, guys.
No
So
problem.
I have in defensive Mendy, Kimpembe, Varane, and Walker. Who is the strong, Kimpembe and Kimpembe or Van Dijk or Walker and Hakimi?
So I think Kimpembe is amazing on this game, and if I were you, I would partner him with Marquinhos. In my opinion, Marquinhos is the best, gold centre back in the game. And then with Kimpembe and Marquinhos, that would also allow you to get Hakimi in, who I think is better than Walker. So that PSG defence with Donnarumma then in goal is like some of the best you can get. It's definitely the best you can get in terms of just gold defences. So that's the route I would take if I were you.
Okay. And in your opinion, I sell Varane and buy Marquinhos, Kimpembe, and Hakimi.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that trio in defence is like top tier. Amazing centre backs, and then Hakimi's crazy as well.
Okay. And I have another question. I
Sure.
have in Cam Fekir SBC.
Yeah.
So my team is Mendy, Kimpembe, Varane, Walker, Kante, Flashback, Pogba, Fekir, Rashford, Dembele, and Ronaldo striker. I buy Messi, Cam.
Over, I mean, if you can fit Messi in to play Cam,
Yes.
he's one of the best in the game at it for sure. So I'd definitely recommend getting Messi in. He's really good this year, better than he has been on other FIFAs.
Okay. Another question: Fofana SBC is good.
For Fahrenheit, he is very good. Obviously, he's not the easiest to link in, but if you can find a way to get him in on at least 8 chemistry, then he's definitely worth having. He's a good box to box.
Okay, and Fofana with the Kante is good in defensive.
Yeah, I think you'll struggle a little bit to attack with them because they're both a bit more defensive minded, but you'll be very, very solid. Like with those two, like defensively, they'll be excellent.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
That's great.